Record. Okay, now we're recording. Now you're gonna go famous. It's warning you. Okay. So usually I can zoom in on the whole screen, but for some reason it doesn't want to do that. There we go. Okay, so is that getting bigger for you guys? Yes. Okay, so here we go. U10 coaches, thank you for being here. And we're gonna go over the norms for U10 and answer any questions you have. So normally in U10, you try to have 2 practices a week. I'm actually doing Monday, Friday this year. Just I have a college class on Thursday and I have youth group on Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Friday was our options, and we decided to go Monday, Friday for my team. So try to fit in a couple practices a week, and then Saturdays you have games. Field use is first come, first serve. I gave you guys a set of 2 6-foot pop-up goals, and if you didn't get one, I still have 3 extra sets in the shed. So let me know. Those are awesome for what they call small-sided games, where you just have a few kids against a few kids, and so I encourage you to do that. If you didn't get pennies, I've got pennies in the shed. Mondays and Fridays, the shed will be open Mondays and Fridays from 4:30 to 7. Those are I'm running 2 practices on Mondays and Fridays from 4:30 to 7. I'll unlock the shed. You can go in there and steal whatever you want. You are a coach. You have total authority in there. Now, so yeah, so you have those 6-foot pop-up goals. So you could go practice at, I think you should go practice on Davidson Field, because that's actually flag football's territory. So you should just go, show them what's up and do some soccer there. Probably not, but you can go wherever you want. Crooked River Park has lots of green space, or Ochco Creek Park, which is where the castle playground is. That'd be a great place, because if there's little brothers or sisters, mom and little brothers or sisters could probably hang out while you run your practice nearby. So anyway, practice wherever you want. We're getting the goals out finally. The U10 goals are actually out. So the U10 goals are already on the high school soccer fields just north of the high school varsity fields. And we haven't painted the lines yet, but we're going to. The paint, everything is wrong this year. It's better than COVID last year, but there is a shortage on size 3 balls. So I ordered size 3 balls like 6 weeks ago. They're still not here. So we're using size 4 in another league. And then also field paint is in short supply nationwide. And so there was actually a Mountain View football game that was going to be in Crook County, and they were playing against somebody else. It wasn't the Crook County game, but they were asking to use our fields because they had too much smoke. And so the agreement that went down between the athletic directors was, all right, we'll host your game, but you got to bring 25 gallons of field paint with you. And it was agreed upon. So field paint is a valuable commodity right now. So anyway, we are working on our fields getting painted as well, and we're actually going to paint the lines this week, and we are using a special concoction of primer and water so that it'll go through the machine. So I apologize for all the things that aren't going so well this year. Just know that it's not just because we don't want to do a good job. We will have paint on the ground this week. So when you run your practices, and there will be paint there eventually, my top priority in philosophy is keep the kids moving. So one thing that I see a lot, I don't really care what you do with them, like in terms of drills, and there's so much on YouTube. If you want to know like U10 soccer drills, go into YouTube and type that in, and you could just follow that rabbit trail for hours. A couple of great games, if you want to know. Maybe I'll just add a few things here while we're talking. Okay. Let's see, I have 3 things here. I have warm up, and then I have passing and scrimmage, and or passing and shooting and then scrimmage. So a couple of key philosophies. I'm just going to adjust this as I talk to you. So good coaching philosophy. You spelled that right. Okay. Number 1, keep the kids moving. So avoid making them stand in line to do things. Okay. Another thing is player result, whatever you do,
talking and typing,
whatever you do should result in positive player experience. So if a kid comes away from practice and hated what happened at practice, even if you thought it was amazing, like, this is youth soccer, okay? We're not teaching them, or they're not in the military, and I don't think you guys are doing anything like that, but try to find things that make the kids have a lot of fun and improve their skills, okay? Seek to focus on 1 or 2 skills per drills. So like let's go down here to dynamic warm up now. So what do these three philosophies that I just wrote down result in or look like? So dynamic warm up with the ball would be like, can a kid touch the ball with both feet and run? Okay, so when I do warm up, I almost always just tell, okay, kids, look at me. I got a ball in front of me, and I start just tapping on top of the ball with my feet, and then like one foot's on the ball, one foot's on the ground, and do. And then after that, I usually tell them, okay, now I want you to keep touching the ball every time you take a step, except I want you to start kicking the ball and just keep it right on your feet and keep it really close to you. And we're starting to teach them to dribble. And this is how I like to warm them up. It's kind of like high knees. And so it's starting to stretch their glutes and it's starting to activate their quads or their hip flexors. And rather than when I grew up in the 90s, and your traditional coach would say, okay, everybody make a circle and now stretch out, and everybody stretch. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I've heard from muscle physiologist professor I had in college that stretching is probably bad for you, except maybe after you exercise. So don't warm up with stretching, warm up with moving. And kind of slowly warm up your muscles by getting the blood to flow to the muscles while you do some little things. Don't do the hardest, most intense sprint or kick right out of the gate. And so get them moving, touching the ball in certain ways. You could Google dynamic warm-up. So if you Google dynamic warm-up, U10 soccer, you'd probably be able to find some good things. So that's kind of what I was talking about there. So there's let's see, what else would I want to teach them? So there's something called shielding. I would encourage you to look that up. I think I might have spelled that wrong, my I before my E. So shielding is a good way to kind of learn to put your foot on top of the ball and roll the ball around. And you can do that to keep another person from getting to the ball, but you can also just kind of hop along. So that's a good dynamic warm up. It's kind of like hopping on one foot. So now we've done high knees, now we've done hopping. And then, and then you might have them just kind of back and forth fairly quickly, try to touch the ball a bunch of times. And just kind of, what I always do is have them all line up on like the sideline and then have them all do the same thing down and back. And so everybody's doing everything at the same time rather than one kid doing it while everyone else is standing in line. I hate seeing that. I don't think that is fun. And I don't think that is getting the most out of your time when you do that. So that would be an example of keep them moving, have them all do the same thing at the same time rather than making a line. And, do shielding, do high knees while kicking the ball. So dribbling, in a simple sense, that's just dribbling. And then rolling the ball, with the top of the foot or the bottom of the foot on the top of the ball. Can you go backwards and drag the ball behind you? Can you go forward and push the ball by rolling the ball in front of you? Can you touch the ball with the outside of your feet while you run with the ball? Can you touch the ball with the inside of your feet while you run with the ball? Just doing weird things, touching the ball in different ways to start to get good at dribbling. That's what I usually do for dynamic warm-up. And then in practice, I'll usually go to a drill. And like I mentioned before, I seek to focus on one or two things in that drill. And so let's talk about passing. U10, they should be starting to develop passing skills. And so I would teach them where on your foot should you kick the ball. And kids still need to hear this. I've been saying this in my trainings earlier today. I always tell the kids, what do you say to the toe? No. Say no to the toe. So you don't want to kick the ball with your toe. You want to kick the ball either with your laces, this portion of your foot, which my boot doesn't have any laces, but you want to kick it with that part of your foot, or that's a shot. That's the most power from there. Or if you want to control where the ball goes, you want to hit it with the side of your foot. You watch professional soccer players, they pass the ball with the side of their foot, they shoot the ball with the top of their foot. And so teaching the kids to hit the ball with the correct part of their foot, for the correct thing they're trying to do. And so what I might do is have them all pair up. And I have this game called Long Shot that I've been doing this year where this is more of a shooting drill, but it's kind of a passing drill. But they're probably going to kick it, kind of in the middle. They're going to try to get under the ball with the top of their foot. And I tell them, get the ball to your teammate in the air. And if your teammate can stop the ball or at least get something on the ball, sorry, I'm putting my shoe on. If your teammate can get like his leg on the ball, his knee on the ball, his chest on the ball, his head on the ball that you kick over to him, out of the air, you pass it to him and he kind of controls it somehow, you get a point. And then I say, whoever gets 5 points first doesn't have to do push-ups. And I have like 5 pairs doing this, and they're, 15 yards apart. And they're learning how to shoot the ball basically with some accuracy to their teammate. So that would be a better option than having one kid at a time shoot the ball at the goal, because you have one kid at a time shoot the ball at the goal. And then if it goes in, now that kid has to go inside of the goal, get the ball out, and everybody's just standing around waiting. And so trying to find ways to do drills where everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. Or you can have them get a little closer together, and now they're, okay, I want everybody 10 passes with the inside of your foot, okay? And then I want you to receive the ball with the outside of your foot. And, you can tell them what to do, and they're passing back and forth, and everybody's doing it at the same time. But there are times where they need to stand around a little bit. And there's definitely times, what I would say is teach them for 2 minutes, let them practice for 10 minutes, and then, okay, maybe you did a passing drill and they're learning to pass with the inside of their right and their left foot. Really important, make sure whatever they're learning to do with their right foot, they're also learning to do it with their left foot. Then you might go and have everybody practice their throw-ins. At this age, throw-ins, for the first couple of weeks, they'll get a second chance if they do it wrong, but after that, they won't. And so you want to teach them, the big thing with throw-ins is like, keep it simple at this age, keep both your feet on the ground, put the ball behind your head, throw it straight in front of you. If they throw it like sideways, that's actually not good. It doesn't work. The referee should blow the whistle. If they try to spin it while they throw it, not okay. So it's just a direct throw in front of them. And also their feet have to stay on the ground. And so at this age, you might teach them to drag their back foot. I mean, you could definitely teach that to them. So I wish I could stand up and show you this, but basically you take a step with one foot and then you drag that second foot behind you so that you make sure that second foot is on the ground the whole time. So it's a step, drag the back foot, throw. It's kind of like a way to get a little more power out of the throw. For a lot of these kids, the most important thing is probably just keep your feet shoulder width apart. Don't move your feet, throw the ball, don't jump. And that's a decent throw in at their age. And, if you could teach them to lead their teammate and throw the ball in front of their teammate, that's another great thing. So you might take a few minutes and have them all, and sometimes what I would do with them at this age is I just say, okay, everybody take the ball, see how far you can throw it. Whoever throws it the farthest wins. And then everybody's trying to throw it as hard as they can. And then they're probably messing it up and taking their foot off the ground. And then you say, oh, blow the whistle, make a point, that doesn't work. That's a violation. Ball goes to the other team. So you could teach them what a good throw-in looks like. You could also take some time in a practice to teach them about how corner kicks work. If any of these details, you're like, Johnny, I don't even know what you're talking about. One, ask me at the end, or I would encourage you, just go follow YouTube where it leads, and, youth soccer corner kicks, and just watch some videos. I'm sure there's somebody who has an amazing animation of how corner kicks work and the best way to do them. Okay, so you'll do some skills, focus on 1 or 2 skills at a time, like focus on throw-ins for a while, focus on the corner kicks, focus on passing or shooting. And then this, I think, is really important. It doesn't have to be a scrimmage every time, but there should be a cherry on top at the end of practice. They warmed up for 10 minutes. They learned 2 skills, each for 15 minutes. You have 20 minutes left. Hey, we're going to go 4-on-4 scrimmage. And in this age group, put those 2 pop-up goals out in scrimmage, or, hey, we're going to play sharks and minnows, or we're going to play freeze tag. Those are freeze tag and sharks and minnows. If you haven't played those games yet. So I'm talking about games and scrimmaging. Kids love scrimmaging, but they also love sharks and minnows. And they love freeze tag. And I don't think I don't know if it's worth it for me to take 10 minutes to explain that to you, but I would just say, go look on Google, sharks and minnows as a soccer drill game, and freeze tag. Freeze tag, in a nutshell, when they get frozen, rather than just standing there frozen, they pick up their ball, put it above their head, spread their legs apart, and then one of their teammates can unfreeze them by kicking the ball through their legs. It's that simple. Then they're unfrozen. You can pick as many kids as you want to be freezers. To freeze someone, it could either be they have to pass their ball into somebody else's ball. That's usually pretty hard at this age. Probably just let a kid run around, and if they can kick the other kid's ball, then they're frozen. Sharks and minnows, everybody starts on one side of the field with a ball, and the shark, those are the minnows, the shark has a ball, and everybody's trying to get across to the other side of the field. If the shark can hit your ball with his ball, you become a shark too. And over time, you get to the point where there's only 1 or 2 minnows left, and that's super fun. You got to feel the atmosphere of the kids. Are they still having fun? Is it time for a new drill? I might, in a practice at U10, I might play sharks and minnows for 10 minutes, and then I might play freeze tag for 10 minutes, or I might play sharks and minnows for 10 minutes, and then I might run a scrimmage for the last 10 minutes. So, find a few of these things that make sense for you, and then use them in different ways and get creative with it. The important stuff is not the drills that you do, but that you build an atmosphere of respect, hard work, fun, and friendship. A lot of these kids sign up for soccer not because they're super athletes, but because their parents are concerned about their mental health this year. And so fun and friendship are just as important, in my opinion, as being hard workers and being great at soccer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see lots and lots of great soccer players come out, but honestly, this is probably one of the most important years for us to focus on their experience, and that they would have a great time and feel valued, and that they matter, and that we're happy that they're there with us. We do want to win. I want to create kids who are winners, but I also want to teach kids that the development of their ability to play soccer, and the development of them as a responsible, hardworking, caring person, that's almost more important than how well they can play soccer. It definitely is more important than how they can play soccer. So this is about more than just soccer. Okay, some details about games. You get an hour and 15 minutes on the field. You have, where is it? 2 25-minute halves and a 10-minute halftime. That's 60 minutes. So you have 15 minutes to warm up. So, show up right when it says your game is, and then, the 15 minutes later, your game will actually start. And, you got to at least do a little dynamic warm up to get their muscles ready to play. There will be referees who are trained by me, and they're just high school kids, so go easy on them. They're learning though, and you may know a lot more about soccer than they do. You may know very little about soccer too, so just be nice to them and help them. And it's not like MLS soccer where the players, or not the players, but the people, the audience, the spectators can yell at the referees and be upset. Like, these are the 14-year-olds who are doing this for the first time ever. So go easy on them. I'm going to continue to train them like a couple times throughout the season and teach them more things. They're still learning. They will check to make sure every player has shin guards on. That's the only thing I really care about. Make sure every player has shin guards on for the game. Otherwise they can't play. Every kid on the bench should play at least 50% of the game. It doesn't have to be every kid gets the same amount of playing time. Some kids, maybe they're playing because their parents are forcing them to play and they don't really want to play that much. So get them out there some, but that's okay if they only play 50% of the game. Other kids may want to play the entire game. Maybe they need to learn to share, and they need to learn that lesson too. So lots of good things we can teach kids. I'd rather you played 6 against 6. I'd actually rather you played 7 against 7. I think most of the teams have 8 players. Is that right? Anybody remember?
Johnny, I think every team has 9.
9. Oh, okay. So try to play 7 on 7. That's normally what we. Sorry.
We
Go ahead.
added players when we were all short.
Good. Yeah. And I've been trying to get. I put it out there. We had some openings. So if you can play 7 against 7, that's normal U10 soccer. I think when I made the teams, it was 8. The most that was on a team was 8. And so I thought, they're going to have to play 6v6 because there's always at least one kid gone. But, you guys just work it out with each other. Hey, great, we have 7 today and they're all ready to play the whole game. Then I would love for every kid to just play the whole game the whole time. And then if somebody gets hurt, you can go to 6v6 and take one out. So there's no reason why we couldn't just play them all up to 7. The field's big enough for that. You're using a size 4 ball. I will have the fields marked where the spectators sit, and then the benches will be on the side where you guys sit. You'll have a bench for your team. 2 25-minute halves, 10-minute halftime. Don't eat your snack during halftime. Wait for the end of the game. The offside rule. So I need to look at so we might push that out one more week because I think I wrote that before. I think we could probably make it 2 weeks. So offsides is kind of a complicated rule. Well, I guess I could explain this. I'm gonna turn this thing on here. So let's see. I'm gonna stop share for a second. So this is worth me explaining. If you don't understand after I try to explain this, how offsides works, then just watch a YouTube video and then watch that same YouTube video another day later, and eventually it'll make sense. I remember when I first started learning soccer, I thought it was kind of confusing, and now it feels just totally normal. I think I just turned on the volume for this one. Oh no, no audio. Okay, so here we go. I'm teaching you about the offside rule. Okay, so here's a soccer field, and offside can only happen when a team is not on their side of the field. So here's the half. So we're only going to have 3 players in my offside example. So I have 3 players on this team, and I have 3 players on this team. Okay, so 3 on 3. It would really only require 2 players to have offsides. So let's say that this guy has the ball right here. Okay, so here's the ball, and this player has the ball, and they're trying to go to this goal over here to score, and this team and the O's are trying to go here. So if this player were to run past all of the other players of the other team, so now this guy runs over here, and now he's over here. Okay, if he's past this line, so there's sort of like this imaginary line that represents the last defender. If the offensive player is on the other side of the field, not on his own side of the field, but he's on the other side of the field, and he's past the last defender, he's in an offside position, but it's not a violation of the offside rule yet. But if this guy kicks the ball, the moment that he kicks the ball, so this guy kicks the ball, the moment that that happens, this player is going to receive that pass. He is now offsides. Now, if this player is really smart, he might just stay there and kind of walk backwards. And then there's no need to call offsides because he's not playing on the ball. And so he kind of gave up his advantage. And so the ball could just continue back. The defenders could recover and keep playing. But usually, and probably my guys are just going to immediately blow the whistle and call offsides. It's actually at the discretion of the referee whether or not they actually call offsides. But if the ball travels up here to him, and now he's got like a total advantage, and he was offsides when the ball was passed, now he's got an easy, he's a cherry picker. That's what we call him. If you're cherry picking and you're past the last defender and someone passes to you, the key is that you have to be passed to. Now you're offsides, and the referee will blow the whistle, and he'll call an offsides violation, and it's a free kick for the O's. So that is the offside rule. It's kind of confusing. It's hard to teach to kids. But after you see it like 10 times, you'll maybe start to understand it. And the referees aren't going to be great at calling it, but they're going to get better at calling it as the season goes. And so what I said in the notes here in the norms, and then we do this every year in U10. Every other league, U8 doesn't have offsides at all. So if you're coming from U8, this never happened. U12, from day one, they enforce this rule. But in U10, we're kind of still figuring out what it means to have a goalie. This is the first league where there's a goalie. And so, and the goalie doesn't count as the last defender. Okay, so the last defender, there's still a goalie beyond that offside player. But anyway, so what we do is we wait a couple weeks to enforce this rule. And so the second week, I guess, maybe I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably go to October too. So I'm just going to change this right now. So I wrote this before we had to cancel the first week. So we're not going to enforce, not 25. We're not going to enforce the offside rule now until 10-2. And that way you have a couple of weeks to kind of get to know your kids, and they could totally be cherry pickers for a couple of weeks, and we'll just go, oh, sorry, they're learning how to play soccer. But then after about the second week, we're going to start enforcing the offside rule. And I'm really going to stress, my referees are learning how to be referees too. So it's just good to have an easy start to it for these younger referees. But when they call it, I'm going to tell them, call all the players over, explain what happened, teach them the first time it ever happens. And over time, you'll learn the rule. If you watch professional soccer, that's the great way to start to understand the offside. It's just the guys beyond the last defender, and then they pass to him. He's offsides. It's too big of an advantage. Personally, I think the game of soccer is kind of boring to watch on TV. And maybe if they scored more, people would watch it more. But it would totally change the game if they didn't have that rule. So that's offsides. That's a foul. It would result in a direct kick. But if they use their head on the ball, then it would be an indirect kick. A direct kick is when you can shoot from that ball and score. It could go straight in the goal. An indirect kick is when you really aren't allowed to score until someone else touches the ball. So you would want to pass to someone else and let them shoot. That's called an indirect kick. So if the kids accidentally do a header, it's going to be an indirect kick. So that might become important if you're right in front of the U10 goal and somebody does a header. It's not going to be a penalty kick. It's going to be an indirect kick, which means they need to really pass to someone else. Now they could be really kind of, as they say in England, they could be really cheeky and they could kick the ball as hard as they can at the goalie. And if it bounces off the goalie and goes in the goal, then technically that's a goal. But most of these kids probably aren't going to have those nuances figured out. So when the referee explains an indirect kick, he's just going to tell them you have to pass to someone else before you shoot. And most fouls, other than this header, I don't know of maybe if somebody gets injured, there's another reason for an indirect kick, but most fouls just result in a direct kick where they can shoot and score. But the header is this new rule. We don't want kids banging their heads into each other and getting concussions. So Oregon Soccer, OSA, I think, Oregon Soccer Association, and National Soccer has decided kids shouldn't use their head on the ball. So we follow those rules. Once they get to U15, they do use their head. All right, this is kind of a weird one. Goalies are not allowed to punt the ball. The fields are small, and punting the ball results in a weird game of soccer where the ball is constantly punted back and forth and not a lot of passing happens. And so, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, same groups, major soccer groups said, from now on, play out the back. And there's this thing called a build out line. So this is another thing I need to explain by drawing for you. So let me turn that back on. I'm gonna not share, stop share. And I'm going to do this. Spotlight for everyone. Okay, so there's this thing called a build out line. So in U12, the build out line is like, so here's U12 soccer field. The build out line is a third. So you have a half, and then you have this other line that I'm going to draw as a dotted line. It's not actually a dotted line, it's a solid line. In U12, there's actually this line called the build out line. And we actually paint an extra line on the field. So the build out line is the line that players have to retreat behind if they have a goal kick. So if the other team has a goal kick. So there's this thing called a 6-yard box. So here's your goal. And then there's this thing called a 6-yard box right here. And then there's this thing called the penalty box. And that's what a soccer field looks like on U10. So, and then the goal is here. Those are obviously totally to scale. So this is called the 6-yard box, 6-yard box. And then this is called the penalty box. So in U12, we actually paint a line. Hold on, I gotta move this, sorry. Okay, in U12, we actually paint a line right here. We call it the build out line. And so if this team is the X's, right? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they've got this one random player up here, and he's got the ball. He's got the ball, and he kicks the ball out. So he kicks the ball out the back line. That results in what's called a goal kick. And a goal kick is when you take the ball, you've all seen this, when you take the ball and you put it on this corner right here, or you put it on this corner right here, and everybody thinks it has to be on the corner. It actually doesn't have to be on the corner. The ball can be anywhere on this line. The goalie can kick it. A defensive player can kick it. I recommend having a defensive player kick it so the goalie's in the goal in case the defensive player kicks it right to the other team. But the other team, when this team has a goal kick, the other team has to retreat behind the build out line. So they actually have to retreat and get behind the build out line. And then these guys can take their goal kick and then their team is all up here, and they've got 5 players. And so what he does, he passes it to this guy right here. And then this guy comes for him, and then he passes it to this guy here. And then this X guy is coming over here. And now he passes it to this guy here. And we're trying to teach them to play out of the back rather than just boot the ball all the way across the field and no one learns how to pass. We want to have these short controlled little passes to move the ball up the field. Now, that being said, that's U12 soccer. Everything's the same for U10 soccer. I'm just going to put up a new one, or I'll just go right here. Everything's the same for U10 soccer, except the build out line is the half. So in U10, the build out line is just also the half line. And so anytime the goalie gets his hands on the ball, or anytime there's a goal kick, this is the O team. Okay, they've got 4 players, and the X's, say this guy's here and this guy's here, they have to retreat behind this line, and then the goalie can give the ball to this guy, and then he can dribble up the field for a while, and then he can pass it this way. And we're trying to teach them to play out of the back. So the build out line for U10 is the half, and whenever there's a goal kick or whenever the goalie gets possession of the ball, the offensive players need to retreat. The offensive team that's trying to score on this end needs to retreat behind the build out line. Okay, that was pretty technical, and I probably didn't explain that very well, but that is how that works. Do you guys have any questions about the build out line? You could watch a YouTube video that has some great animation that'll explain it again if I was kind of confusing for you. My rudimentary stick figure drawings are not quite at the level of certain videos out there that could probably help explain it. Any questions on that? You can put a question in the chat too if you want. All right, maybe it was crystal clear then. So I'm going to share, whoops, put the share screen button. I'm going to share, we're almost through all this. So that's why goalies aren't allowed to punt the ball, but they can throw the ball, and they're pretty good at throwing the ball sometimes. Don't throw it like a baseball, throw it like a shot put, or I don't know, like your arm is a big, like they don't have an elbow. You don't want to use your elbow to throw the ball. Just lock your arm and throw it. So throwing the ball, but rolling the ball on the ground to your teammate nearby, and then passing is a good way to go out. And that's why that build out line is there. So the other team learns how to build out from the back. Opposing players retreat behind the half when the goalie gets the ball. After game, have your teams hit elbows. Parents can form a cheering tunnel. So one parent on this side, the other parent on that side, all the way down. And everybody cheers for the kids. Maybe make your cheering tunnels 6 feet apart from everyone else so that, no one gets COVID from each other. But I do think that the cheering tunnels are worth it for the kids. And after the game, the teams enjoy snacks donated by parents, organized by the team parents. So you should have a team parent who you give that folder to, and they will have somebody bring snacks every game to make things awesome for the kids. Okay, that's all I got written down. Do you guys have questions over things I tried to talk about coherently? Maybe you're shy and you would like to put your question in the chat. This is called wait time in public education. You don't just ask a question and then after 3 seconds of silence, just immediately sign off. We're gonna just wait. Who's got a question? I know there's a burning question in one of your hearts that you want to ask. All right, I guess I just explained everything so well. Nobody has any questions. Well, you guys probably already have my cell phone number, but I'm gonna put my cell phone number in the chat. And if you have questions or if anything ever comes up, send me a text. I have a job during the day and I tend to just save text messages about soccer until I get home from work. And then I'll try to see if I can solve it for you. I know I have a text message from one of you actually about schedules. So it's still on my phone. I think I haven't addressed it. So I'll send you that schedule that you needed. And look for an email from me tonight. It probably won't have anything in it that you didn't already hear in the Zoom. So thanks for those of you who are in the Zoom. I don't know if I told you this, but the soccer jerseys are still not here. They were supposed to be here last week. The socks showed up last week. The shorts showed up like a week before that. And so we're just waiting on the jerseys. I have a set of jerseys that the printer got some of the details wrong and the way their computer system works, and some things that were supposed to be blue are purple. And it's not that big of a deal. Like it still looks almost like you couldn't even tell unless you were the guy who designed it. And so I'll probably give you those either way this week on Wednesday night. And I'm hoping that the accurate, what's the right word? The perfect jerseys show up as well. So everybody's going to get 2 jerseys. They're going to get the jersey with the defect in the ink, and then they're going to get the regular jersey. And so you'll have an extra jersey. And if you can't make it on Wednesday night to pick up socks, shorts, and jerseys, I will put them at Parks and Rec. And so is that what this said? Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. Yep.
Hey, Johnny, it's Sarah. I have a quick question.
Sure.
What about hoodies?
Oh yeah, hoodies. So coaches' hoodies are done too. I haven't told anybody that yet. So I printed we finally got all the coaches' hoodies printed yesterday. And when you pick up your jerseys, I'll give you those as well. And the players' hoodies.
Oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
What's that?
I was just gonna ask about the kids.
Yeah, those aren't ready
Like,
yet.
are we still able to order them? Are you gonna do it like the years before? Okay.
Yes. And there was
what's
kind of
the ETA on that?
well,
like when they order it, how far out?
Just a week or less. We're making those ourselves. The boys soccer team is making them this year. I have the equipment to print thing. And so it's a fundraiser for the boys soccer team. There was a mistake with about 200 people bought the kids' hoodies already, and they didn't put their last name. They didn't put a question for their last name. So I've kind of been just like waiting to figure out how am I going to, like, I could probably guess most of the kids' last names from their registration, but I'm worried that it's not going to be right. And I haven't taken the time to worry about it enough to do something about it. So I really need to do that like today. Probably put out a Google form or something to try to get every person to put the correct last name. And I don't know, it's kind of a mess. I don't want to put the wrong thing on some kid's jersey. So, or some kids.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there will be also a form for those who want to order one. Probably on Saturday next week, I'll have that ready for you guys, or maybe I'll have that ready for you by the time you pick up uniforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. I need
No problem.
do things more and not do so much myself, I think. Because sometimes I just hold on to things and don't
Maybe.
do it. Yeah. It's a personal defect. Okay. Any other questions out there? Okay, I will probably do another Zoom like this, at least one before the tournament with all the coaches. And I don't know if you guys, yeah, it's kind of a unique way to communicate that we've never used before. So, all right, well, you guys have a great Sunday, and thanks for being awesome. And thanks for coaching. See you later.